guys, welcome back. People's Power. We got the show today is about batteries. That's the topic. And I'm going to read you questions, and each question is going to be directed towards either Kevin or Ken. And then we'll wrap up. But if anybody has any comments, please put in the comment section, and we'll try to get to them. All right, this first question is for Kevin. What type of batteries do we offer?
So we offer, that's a great question. We offer two types actually of battery. We offer backup, which gives you full backup. And we also give you non-backup, which we'll explain in a moment. But we offer, as far as products, Enphase, a Solar Edge battery, and of course the Tesla Powerwall 3. So lots of good choices, lots of good conversations to have about which one not only will work for your home, but work for your needs and what you're looking to achieve with energy storage.
Awesome. We lost Kevin. So I'm not sure where he went. So the next question was for Ken, but we'll let you take it. Actually, I'm going to go to, will my house run if the grid goes down? This question is from John.
Possibly. So it depends on the battery situation that you have. What I mean by that is that there's whole home backup, and then there's obviously partial backup as well. So not your whole home might not come up. If you have non-backup batteries, then hey, Ken.
Yeah, that was really weird. My computer just kind of zapped out. Had to relog back in.
Oh,
so we're letting Kevin take your question, Ken. Will my house go down if the grid goes down? You can continue, Kevin.
Sure. So possibly. Depends on the situation you have. If you have a non-backup battery situation, which is less expensive, then no. If you do have a full home backup, then yes. And of course, they have partial home backups, which have dedicated circuits that will run if the grid does go down. So the answer is maybe, depending on your situation. It could, but then again, if you choose a little bit less expensive option for time of use and off-peak use, which is a non-battery backup system, then no.
Excellent. Thank you, Kevin. Ken, this is from Sue in Gilbert, Arizona. What's the difference between non-backup and backup batteries? I know Kevin just slightly touched on it, but let's dive a little bit deeper in this one.
Yeah, so that's a great question. First of all, let's talk about real quick, the grid, right? So when you have real stable grids, sometimes it's not that necessary to have the full backup. There's two options. So with a backup battery, obviously, as Kevin kind of touched on, you're going to be able to get power when that grid goes down. Consumption only batteries, it has less equipment, which actually makes the battery less expensive for a homeowner. And that's really done when you have these utilities. So utilities are lowering export rates, which is buying of the energy from the homeowners. And it's a great alternative. So instead of sending energy back to the grid, you're still storing your own energy in consumption only batteries, but without having the cost of a battery. It's a lot less.
And a traditional battery?
Traditional batteries are just, the ones that people want to get in their home. So it's going to work just like a consumption only. The only difference is it's going to have more components that's going to allow that battery to actually fire up when the grid goes down. So you still have power in the house, and depending on how many circuits you need to be backed up will also depend on how many batteries you actually need for your project.
I think it kind of matters where you live too, location. So if I lived in Florida or Texas or California with the risk of earthquakes or storms, I think it would make more sense to having a traditional backup. Is that right?
Yeah. So if you live in an environment where you have, like Southern California has rolling blackouts, Texas has rolling blackouts and storms, in Florida, you have your hurricanes and other natural disasters and things going on, yeah, I mean, it's worth the extra investment to do a traditional backup battery. If you live in a climate where your utility is super stable and you don't really have these major events happening, and you don't need it, let's say for maybe medical reasons, uh, consumption only is a great option for homeowners, and I think you're going to see it a lot more happening on projects where people are using batteries in their home. But again, like I did a project where it was on a very stable grid, but they chose to do full backup batteries because of medical issues. So that means the power goes out, you still have power in the house.
That's a great example. I think we don't often touch upon that enough. And I had a customer recently. Unfortunately, he's on oxygen, and he's looking into batteries right now for his house because he needs to have power if the grid goes down. And he lives in a stable utility, but obviously his life is more important than that. So, great answers there, Ken. Thank you very much.
And can I add on that just briefly?
Sure.
The grids, that are stable. At one point in time, I believe most of the grids were stable. It's more people are moving. The housing boom. I mean, houses are getting built everywhere, and they're not building any more power plants. So, the stable grid of today could be the unstable grid of tomorrow. So being prepared in what you feel comfortable with is very, very important. Not just thinking of today, but thinking of, 5 and 10 years. Maybe you're healthy today, but in 10 years something happens and you need that oxygen, or as a medical thing. I live in a house that's all electric, so I don't have a gas option. So I like to have the battery option for me at any given time. So
that's a great point, Kevin. Because few people kind of look past today, and the goal is if you can look past till tomorrow, there's a good chance that, like you said, there's more homes being built. It's going to be more demand on the grid. So that was a fantastic answer. All right, this is going back to Kevin. This is from Sal. How much are batteries, Kevin? And are they different prices between the non-backup and the traditional batteries?
Yeah, great question as well. I love what we're doing here today. Getting to some really, really good questions and all. Yes, non-backup is going to be different than backup. The batteries themselves are actually going to be the same. So there's no difference in the actual battery itself, whichever manufacturer that you use. Some offer backup, some don't. Some do not offer, like, just consumption only. You either buy this particular, and I'll use the Tesla. It's backup. It's full backup only. Where the Enphase system gives you options and SolarEdge gives you options using the same batteries, but having a non-backup, consumption only, and then full backup. Yes, the full backup will be always more expensive than non-backup. There's just more equipment. There has to be some transfer pieces in there, and it almost double the price. Not quite, probably about 40% more than if you went with non-backup systems. So Enphase, having the smallest of the battery system, they have a 5 kilowatt battery. They're the lowest price, but then SolarEdge has a 10 kilowatt, which is double for not double the price. So it depends on the inverters that you use as well. Enphase can only use Enphase. SolarEdge can use anything. And then Tesla has an all-in-one built-in system. So once you go to Tesla for their Powerwall 3, which is the latest and greatest that we offer, they have a built-in system, built-in inverter, and all of that kind of stuff. So it's about the same price as going into SolarEdge when you're going into full backup system. But Tesla does not offer consumption only. They offer the battery power when you need it, whether it be at night when there's no sun, or where it be at full grid outage. So
So I'm not sure if I heard a price in there. Can you give us a ballpark to how much like a non-backup battery is and a traditional battery?
Yeah, so they start off around $5,000, but they go all the way up until about $11,000 or $12,000, depending on the battery itself. And then you can scale so that you can put multiple batteries on at a discounted price. I don't like to get into pricing too terribly much as far as specifics, because with the way the economy is right now, everything's being so fluid. To quote a price today might not be a price of tomorrow. So
that's a good point.
I do want to, it's not that we're hiding anything whatsoever, but battery manufacturer supply chain, demand, all of those things dictate obviously pricing. So, you're looking anywhere usually between $5,000 and $15,000, depending on the system, and then it goes up from there depending on scale. One battery might not be enough. Two batteries, depending on the system, on what you're looking for in your own home, could be better. I know I've done 3 and 4 battery systems. Ken has done 3 and 4 battery systems, but different sizes and different quantities and all that kind of stuff. So the pricing is kind of, I'm not going to say all over the place, but it's so customizable to lock out a price is difficult.
So what I heard, Kevin, is the non-backup batteries are less expensive than the traditional batteries. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
But they're the same battery. They just have more. They just have less equipment.
Correct.
Less labor costs, less of that, and that's why they're less expensive. The battery is the same. It's just, again, less equipment to make sure it runs, again, independently rather than just consumption only.
Can I add one thing on that as far as the pricing? So one of the things that I found, and I think this is really important information for consumers out there who are possibly thinking about solar, is, when you start adding these batteries, one of the things that you can also do is usually make the system of the solar panels smaller. In other words, you're building a smaller system with batteries opposed to a larger system without batteries. So technically you can get some of those costs really of the batteries kind of built in, where the pricing is still a little different, but it's not as bad as you would think so. And that's what I've been finding out with consumers as I've been building systems with non-batteries to systems with batteries.
That's a great point. I don't think a lot of people think about that. So if you add batteries, you don't have to have, as large of a system, and that cut costs, and then you can invest that into batteries.
Yep.
Awesome. This goes to both of you guys. We'll start with Ken first. Which battery is your favorite and why?
Okay. Well, that's a little bit of a tricky question. But obviously
that's from me.
Obviously my favorite go-to battery at this point in time is, Tesla just came out with a new Powerwall 3, and the pricing of that battery is super, super reasonable, where a homeowner can get backup as well as consumption mode to save money. Although, that being said, my second favorite, if somebody's building a really small system, that's where the Enphase batteries come in, because they are the smallest capacity battery that somebody can still actually get a battery and a reasonable pricing on a battery on a functional system. So that's my answer.
Awesome.
Sticking to it.
Thank you. That's good. And I have my thoughts on this as well. So, Kevin?
So cost-wise, and I didn't barely bring this up before, cost per unit of power, Tesla's obviously the best value. So it's not just the number up top, but it's when you look at the price per ounce in the grocery store for a can of something, and you get a lower price per ounce, Tesla does win on that. I like the Tesla stuff. They've been doing it the longest. They're the pioneers. They've been staying ahead of the game. Everybody else, it's kind of like, in my opinion, Tesla's like the Michael Jordan of, EVs, of solar, of, renewable energy. And everybody tries to compare themselves with Tesla. That's the standard of things. And so I like that. They've been around forever. The customer service, when you deal with us, it makes it easy, so you don't have to go directly and wait in line type of thing. Because Tesla is known for bad service. But when you go with us, then we have a direct, line of sight to get that taken care of if there is any issues. But overall, quality, materials, the features, for me, it's Tesla.
And the good point, Kevin. The service is not through Tesla; it's through us. So just everybody knows that.
Yeah.
And I just a personal story. I just recently did a large system. He's put in a pool. He wants to power, heat his pool, and we used 2 SolarEdge non-backup batteries. It was better bang for the buck. And I told him, and he asked me, he's like, "What would you do?" Because I quoted him Enphase. I showed him a Tesla Powerwall 3. And I said, if it was me, I go, it would be better bang for your buck with 2 SolarEdge non-backup batteries. And I did ask you guys to look at the job too, to make sure that, instead of just me telling them that, I had 2 other people look into it as well. So, and you guys both agreed that the SolarEdge non-backup battery would be better for his job. So,
so real quick on that. So if you're going for non-backup, if you're going for just consumption only, again, I would have to pick SolarEdge myself. It's a personal opinion. I'm a firm believer if you're going to do it, spend the extra money and just get full independence of usage whenever you want it. Again, are the grid's going to go down tomorrow? No, but do storms come? Do people get into accidents and take down telephone poles? Something like that for the extra few bucks. For me, again, it's not for everybody. That's why I would pick Tesla overall. But if it was just a consumption only, non-backup, SolarEdge is the clear winner.
Yeah, so we all have our opinions on why, and there's many spec sheets on this online, so you can Google it. But guys, I really appreciate you going over the questions with me, and I'm sure the audience appreciates it too. Until next time, have a great week, and keep selling and keep serving.
Awesome. Thanks.
Good to see everybody.